Hello everyone! Kumusta? My name is Che and welcome to my channel, Mabuhay from Philippines. Today, I want to share with you how I fertilize my orchids and how I simplified my previous fertilizing routine. I have a video last year on how I water and fertilize my orchids, and I still use aggressive feeding, but I made some modifications. Here are the fertilizers that I use, and the first thing that I change when I fertilize my orchids is the water. I now use purified water, but I don't measure the TDS or how much is the ppm of my fertilizer mixture. I just mix them all and I just follow the recommendation for aggressive feeding. If you are concerned with the TDS, please check the video of the Green Thumb's pet on how he mixes his fertilizers because he measured the total ppm. I will include a link of his video in the description. The fertilizer mixture and routine that I will show you today is for my outdoor orchids. I have other videos showing you how I fertilize my orchids in semi-hydro or in self-watering pots. And if you are interested, I will also include a link of that video in the description so that you can check that out. Before I mix the fertilizers, I will water my orchids first. I have seen a video of Dr. Motes explaining that there is no need to water your orchids first before applying fertilizer. But this is part of the aggressive feeding instruction that you should water your orchids first before applying the mixture. And I have two reasons why I water my orchids first before I fertilize them. First reason is that I apply heavy fertilizer. I am using aggressive feeding and it is a combination of different fertilizers. And watering my orchids first before I apply the mixture will prevent root burns. The second reason is that I apply fertilizer through the leaves, although the fertilizer will drain to the roots. That's why I water them first to avoid root burns and also to cool down my orchids. I live in the Philippines in a warm region of Mindanao, so I need to cool down my orchids first to open up their stomata to better absorb the fertilizer, and then after that, the roots can also absorb the fertilizer. I fertilize my orchids in the morning between 7 to 8 o'clock because it's very windy in the afternoon, even in the late afternoon. When I water my orchids before I apply fertilizer, I water them from the leaves, even the undersides of the leaves, to the roots. I will show you how I do that. I will use my battery-operated portable sprayer, which I already showed you in a previous video. After I water all of my outdoor orchids, I will wait for at least 10 minutes before I apply fertilizer, and while waiting, I will now mix my fertilizers. Fertilizers are food for our orchids, and applying fertilizer is not a guarantee that we will have healthy orchids. Our orchids need different factors to grow and be healthy, like the sun, air, and other things, even our care and attention. So fertilizer is not a magic potion. Fertilizers are food, and I love giving foods to my orchids. What kind of fertilizer to use or what food to give to our orchids will depend on us. It's up to you, but I will share mine and I hope that you'll also share how you fertilize your orchids in the comments. And now I will mix my fertilizer. I will mix for 8 liters of water for all of my outdoor orchids. So I will be showing you my mixture for 8 liters of water. And if you want to see the correct mixture for aggressive feeding, please check my previous video. I will include the link of that video in the description. I will mix the fertilizer in this 4-liter container. I filled it half first and then I will add the fertilizers and I'll mix them well before I will add more water. I will now pour my fertilizer mixture into my sprayer. It has a strainer, so I won't worry about some undissolves. This is only 4 liters, so after this, I will add 4 liters of purified water. I will now mix this well and then I'm ready to fertilize my orchids. I will only spray the fertilizer at the leaves and let the fertilizer flow into the roots. I am done applying fertilizer to all of my outdoor orchids and now I will tell you about my modified schedule, my simplified fertilizing schedule. Previously, I fertilized my orchids every 3 days for 8 times a month and then have a 1 week of no fertilizer period. But not anymore because I have simplified my fertilizing schedule for a few months now. I now fertilize my orchids twice a week and that is every Tuesday and every Friday for 3 weeks and then on the 4th week is the no fertilizer period. When I missed fertilizing my orchids on Tuesday, I did that on Wednesday and then Saturday. And here's my schedule for January. On the first week, I fertilized my orchids on the 5th and 8th day of the month, that is Tuesday and Friday. The same on the second week, also Tuesday and Friday. And then on the third week, I missed fertilizing my orchids on Tuesday, so I did that on the next day. So on the third week, I fertilized my orchids on the 20th and 23rd, and that is Wednesday and Saturday. And the last week is the no fertilizer period. I will still follow this schedule for the next months because for me, this is easier to follow, easier to remember than my previous fertilizing schedule. During the 4th week or the no fertilizer week, I see to it that there's one day that I flush my orchids or I water them thoroughly with a hose. I will show you how I flush my orchids. Instead of using my sprayer, I will use a hose to water them thoroughly. My potted orchids are in charcoal, lava rocks, and hydroton, and flashing them helps in preventing mineral buildup. And this time, I can also wash away dust and insects from my orchids. Rain also flushes orchids, and rain is the best way to flush orchid medium or orchid media. However, I have orchids that are not exposed to rain and we have dry season, so I made it a habit to flush my orchids at least once a month. And this is how I flush my orchids. That is how I fertilize my orchids now and how I flush them. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching. Maraming salamat. Paalam. See you on my next videos.